my channel. Welcome back to another video. I'm Jessie and you're watching. Oh my freaking gosh. So if you follow me on my Twitter, bowtiesbooks, or on my Instagram, bowtiesandbooks, you probably already know why I'm freaking out. I recently announced on my Twitter and on my Instagram that YouTube, as in YouTube, reached out to me and asked me to be on an episode of Booktube Originals. If you're unfamiliar on what that is, it's basically a series that YouTube has where they pair booktubers with an author and you head out to their studio in Los Angeles and you sit down and have a conversation with this author. So some of their notable authors have included, you know, James Patterson and Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama has been on this series. Some of my favorite booktubers, such as Naya of Naya Reads and Smiles, have made appearances on this series, and when YouTube asked me to be a part of it, I was shocked. I literally thought that it was a mistake. I thought that they had mistakenly sent me the email and that they were going to message me back and be like, oh, I'm sorry, we meant to send this to a booktuber more deserving, my bad. Keeping this secret from y'all has been the hardest thing I've ever had to do
in my entire life.
Because y'all know that I tell you everything. I'm very, very open with y'all. I'm just used to having a lot of like open dialogue with you and letting you know like what's going on in my life and how I'm feeling about things. And so it was when I tell you that it was so hard for me to keep from you that I was doing this, you just gotta believe me. I got the okay today that I could finally share on my social media that I was asked to be a part of this project, and so I revealed the information, and I am just still, to this exact moment, so overwhelmed, pleasantly overwhelmed by all of the incredibly heartwarming and touching responses I received from y'all over on Instagram and on Twitter. So many of you are just super, super excited about me being on this episode, which airs on February 6th. I'm going to leave the trailer to the episode down below if you would love to check it out. I mean, it would mean so much to me if you check this out. I was in the process of responding to all of these comments, these incredibly kind comments that y'all left, these deeply encouraging words of support, when I realized that the best way that I could say thank you is getting into my filming corner and filming this frickin' TBR game announcement, because I've been teasing y'all for months about the fact that I have a TBR game in the works, and I just feel like the best thank you for y'all asking YouTube to put me on the show is to put out a video that you guys have really wanted to see from me. So I still will be thanking y'all individually and going through the comments, but I figured, why don't I just turn on my camera and film this announcement. Now, if you are new to my channel, usually I film very intentionally. I'm wearing a bow tie. I like schedule when I'm going to film. I never film spontaneously ever, just because I'm a hyper planner. I don't like to do things last minute, but I have been so touched and so overwhelmed in the best ways by your responses that I just wanted to do an unscripted video, and a video that I know y'all have been really, really wanting me to make. So all of that being said, the information for that is going to be down below. Definitely follow me on my Instagram if you aren't already, because I do a lot of daily updates and it's just good content over there. So if you want more of me, that is the place to get it. So for those who do not know what a TBR is, it's essentially an acronym for to be read. And those of us in the booktube community use the phrase TBR to refer to the stacks of books that we are going to be reading either this year or this month. And TBR games have slowly been getting more steam over on booktube. I think two of the most notable TBR games are definitely Cody's Wheel of TBR. Cody is an amazing booktuber, and also Becca, who has Becca's Bookopoly. Essentially, Becca has taken a Monopoly board and transformed it as a tool for helping her pick out her next read. Becca's series in particular really, really inspired me to make my own game. This is something that I have been interested in doing since last April. Since last April, I have been actively trying to plan and figure out what kind of TBR game I wanted to make. I knew that I wanted to make something that was unique to my channel, that nobody else was doing, something that was wholly creative and just 100% mine. I knew that that was really, really important to me. And if you are noticing the stains on my sweater, I literally was in the middle of cooking when my phone started blowing up with all of these incredibly supportive messages, and I just like left the kitchen and started filming this video. So that's why I'm all messy, because I literally just came from cooking.
Don't judge me, let me live.
I'm gonna roll up my sleeves so you can't see how messy I am. And honestly, it took me months of actively trying to plan and figure out what I wanted to do, what was best for my channel. And it wasn't until, I believe, November that I figured out what my game was gonna be. Now, this idea is inspired by two things in particular. Like I said, I wanted the game to be a reflection of me, my channel, and who I am. My first source of inspiration for this game is Loteria, otherwise known as Mexican Bingo. If you've been following my channel for a while, y'all know that I am Black and Mexican, and I grew up playing Mexican Bingo with my family. So cards have a very special significance to me. To me, they signify familial bonding. Some of the best memories that I have of my family are over this game. And the second source of inspiration is one of my favorite comic book characters of all time, Remy LeBeau, otherwise known as Gambit.
You want to play with Gambit? Here, take a card.
I used to read the Gambit comics by Fabian Nicieza, and of course I watched the X-Men animated series, and oh my gosh, just...
We charge the card, then we blow it up.
And so I think that that's kind of when my fascination with cards and card games sort of started, was with Loteria and Gambit. Because of that, I knew that I wanted my TBR game to involve a deck of cards. Now, I figured this out pretty much by November. I took a traditional deck of cards with all of the suits, you know, the spade, the king, the queen, and I came up with prompts. And I was pretty much all set by January 1st to be able to unveil my TBR game and make January the very first month that I would do a full TBR with this game. But then last minute, I had an idea that would make the game that much better. I decided instead of relying on the traditional suits, the traditional deck of cards, I would make 100% my own deck, which meant that I had to work with a custom card deck company, design my entire deck for myself, and then wait for those cards to get printed and sent to me. And that's why this is kind of so late in the month. I had to renovate my card game last minute, and it took much longer than it was supposed to, but I just wanted to do it right. It means a lot to me, and I really, really wanted to get it right. I personally am so excited with the way the cards came out. I asked y'all on Twitter for prompts, so a lot of the prompts that are in this deck of cards came from y'all, and I have given credit on the cards to the people who gave me suggestions, so thank you so much, each and every one of you who provided a suggestion. I also have included a lot of my own suggestions, my own ideas, things that I was really, really excited about and knew that I wanted to have in this game. But without further ado, I would like to reveal to you Jesse's deck of TBR. This is a custom case that I had made. It features my new logo, which I absolutely love and adore. It's this nice metal tin case. I believe I have 55 cards in this deck, and each of them are 100% unique, and some of them are challenge cards. On the back of each card, you will see my custom logo, Bow Ties and Books. And before I reveal some of the prompts of the card to you, I'm going to explain how the game is going to work. I have ordered two very cool dice that I'm going to be using for the purposes of this game. They have not yet arrived, but you will see them in my February deck of TBR. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is every month I will be rolling the dice. The dice are going to tell me how many cards I must pick up. This means that if I roll, let's say, a 7, that means I then need to draw 7 cards from the deck. Once a card is used, I'm then going to be putting it aside so that it will not come up again in a later month. I am allowed 1 re-roll per TBR video. This means that if I get really unlucky and I roll, let's say, an 11 and I have to pick 11 cards from the deck, but I know I have a lot of traveling to do, I'm really busy, work is gonna be wild, then I am allowed 1 re-roll. The idea is hopefully that re-roll will give me a lower number, let's say, a 5, which means I only then have to draw 5 cards from the deck. But I still run the risk of the dice showing an even higher number than before, and I have to go with whatever the second roll says. So rerolls are dicey. See what I did there? Because it means I can really get bitten in the ass. And to make things harder, some of the cards in this deck are challenge cards, which means that those cards have extra challenging prompts on them. Some of the cards are kind of embarrassing. I might have to dress up and live as a character for an entire week. Some of the challenge cards mean a lot of extra and additional work, and if I get really, really unlucky, there's a chance that I might receive several challenge cards in one draw, which is the dangerous part of this TBR game. Now, in terms of punishments for not completing all of the prompts on these cards, I've decided to make it very simple. If I fail to complete any of the challenges listed on a card that I have drawn during the month that I drew the card in, that means that during my next month's TBR, I have to roll 3 dice instead of 2. This means that I might have to draw as many as 18 cards if fate is not so kind to me. I am going to be very, very careful to complete all of the challenges within the month that I'm supposed to complete them so that I do not have to get punished. I've also decided that if I roll a snake eyes, I then have to go on my Instagram and y'all have to choose a challenge for me over on Instagram in order to complete for that month on top of the cards I already have to complete for that month. Now, before I show you what these cards actually hold, I do want to let you know that I am in the process of creating an even more in-depth version of these cards. That version will launch most likely in June, and there will be a link for you to purchase this deck of cards, the same deck of cards that I'm playing with, and then you guys can play Jesse's deck of TBR with me every single month. Anybody who uploads a Jesse's deck of TBR video is going to get added to a playlist, so it'll be really easy for us to find other people who are playing along with Jesse's deck of TBR. Overall, I just think it would be a really, really fun way for us to do this all together instead of me just doing it by myself. I just love group activities and I love doing things with y'all, and I hate that there's so much distance between all of us, so I think this would be a really, really fun way for us to play a game together every single month. And of course, you don't have to do every month if you don't want to. Again, you will probably see that launched on my channel around June. This deck of cards is going to be our trial run, and I'm really, really excited, already really, really excited to launch the interactive card game in June. So without further ado, let's show you what's on these cards. I know y'all are like,
Jesse, shut the fuck up. Give us the damn cards already.
This first card is a prompt from my beloved Kevin of Irish Reader. Each card has its own name, which I really, really love. And it's called the So You Want to Be a Jack of All Trades card. As dictated by Kevin, if this card is drawn, you must double your cards for this month.
That would suck.
Especially if I've already rolled like a 7 or an otherwise very high number. Oh my god. This card is one of my favorites. It is called the Seance card. Resurrect a book from the dead. Read a backlist title that few people still talk about. This is another one of my favorite cards. It is the Get Out card. Read a book about something that terrifies you. Examples are spiders and trypophobia. I have severe arachnophobia, and I also have mild to moderate trypophobia. If you don't know what trypophobia is, Google it, but Google it at your own risk. I like this card because it is called the Fuck This card. Read a book from your TBR that you're unsure about, aka a book you are interested in reading but are not certain you will actually like. And then we have a challenge card. So this will give you an example of what some of the challenge cards might look like for me. Live as a book character for 1 week. Wear the same hairstyle and clothes as that character. Do things that they would do, speak as they would, and eat foods they would like. Vlog your experience. Each of these cards are completely unique. They have amazing prompts on them, and I'm so excited that y'all in the community kind of came together and helped me figure out what was gonna be on these cards, because your input was absolutely invaluable to creating this deck. Now, I will say that I do reserve the right to put a card back in the deck if what I have going on in my life makes it impossible for me to complete a challenge or a card that month. For example, I am going to be hosting Blackathon next month all through February. And for Blackathon, I'm only going to be reading books that have Black protagonists or are by Black authors, which means that if I draw a card that says something like read a book about an Asian character that lives in Asia, for example, that's not one of the cards, but it's just an example. That card unfortunately won't work for me. I have to do my best in order to find a book that fits that card, but if I can't, it will go back in the deck, and that's totally okay. But however, I will have to pick another card to replace it. This does mean that my TBR videos are going to be more interactive than they've ever been before. It means that I'm going to have to film them like on the first of the month. It might even take me a couple days to film them because it might take me a little bit to find a book that meets the challenge on the card. But I like that because it means that my TBR videos are going to have to be very intentional. I'm gonna have to put a lot of thought and production into them, and I'm just so excited. Also, some of them involve y'all. Some of them involve me phoning a friend or having to get a booktuber recommendation. So I might have to stop filming, message a booktuber, ask for their recommendation, wait for them to send me a clip. I don't know if that makes sense. It just means that they're going to be more interactive and more, I guess, honestly cinematic than they've been before, which I'm super excited about. Now, unfortunately, I'm filming this on, I think, what day is it? Is it like January 20th or January 21st, I think? What day is it? Huh. I have no idea what today is. Is it January 21st? What fucking day is it? Okay, whatever. Since January is pretty much over and my dice aren't even here yet, but I still want to be able to use the TBR cards this month. Like, I have been waiting so long for these cards to pick my TBR for me that I just don't want to wait anymore. So I think it will be fun for me to just like really loosely shuffle. Like, you can see me shuffling right now.
Badly, but I'm trying. Okay, let me live.
And then I'll pick a card for you and I will have to read whatever type of book is on that card before the end of January. Shuffling is actually incredibly hard for me because I had hand surgery on this hand and it's no longer as dexterous as it once was. It's also really sensitive. So I'm gonna have to learn how to shuffle with this hand. It's going to be very challenging, but I don't mind, I'm excited. So that is basically the reason why I'm doing this really horrible, ineffective shuffling that you're seeing me do right now. Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes. I can't see these cards. And I'm just gonna pick one at random. Okay. So this is the card I've got picked. Wow, English is, okay. All right, let's see what it says. I'm dying. Okay, I'm gonna put this, I hate myself. I'm laughing at my own jokes. Wow, Jessie. Wow, Jessie. Okay, I'm sorry, but it's funny. So this is because this is thriller card. Pick a thriller from your TBR. I'm sorry, I think it's so funny. That is so exciting. Okay, what thriller am I gonna pick? Because I have so many thrillers on my TBR. Okay, let's go look right now. Thriller. We do have, I mean, I know you guys kind of can't see. There's The Favorite Daughter, which I won in an Instagram giveaway. There's The Majesties. I just hit myself in the face. There's The Majesties by Tiffany Zhao. This is one of my most highly anticipated reads, and I just picked it up from the library today. It just got released. It's about two sisters from a deceitful family. And on one fateful morning, one of the sisters wakes up and decides to poison the entire family. Now, the story begins with the surviving sister, Gwendolyn, waking up in the hospital trying to regain her memories, which is one of my favorite tropes. And she kind of spends the book trying to unravel the mystery of why her sister killed the entire family. It's also set in Indonesia and explores the life of the wealthy and the powerful and the elite of Indonesia, which I'm honestly just really excited. This sounds so weird, but I don't know if it technically classifies as a thriller. It's described as a dark, delicious tale that will creep its way into your brain and leave you examining your own soul for signs of moral rot. I think I'm gonna pick this one. All right, y'all, so there you have it. This is my TBR game, Jessie's deck of TBR. Let me know in the comment section down below if you are interested in purchasing a deck when the new deck comes out this summer and playing along with me. Let me know what you think of the game. Really hope that y'all will support these TBR videos. I'm so freaking excited about them, and I worked really hard on creating this game and designing each and every one of the cards myself. So I just really hope that y'all enjoy it as much as I do, and I can't wait for February's TBR, when I can actually roll the dice and make a complete TBR video for y'all. Thank you so much for watching another Bow Ties and Books production. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would absolutely love it if you become a part of my dapper family. All of my social media links will be in the description box below, and I can't wait to see you in my next one.